In the last video, series 6, we discussed the working capital requirement of a service provider and that of a trader. Today, in this video, series 7, we shall discuss the working capital requirement of a manufacturing concern. A manufacturing concern is different from a trader in the sense that the manufacturer purchases certain materials, converts them into something else, and then sells it. For example, we have already discussed a PVC pipe manufacturing unit. A PVC pipe manufacturing unit purchases PVC granules and puts it in a machine called extruder, which converts the PVC granules into PVC pipes. So the working capital requirement of a manufacturer is slightly different from that of a trader. In the case of a trader, he has to meet the expenses like electricity bill, salary payable, taxes, etc. And he also makes investment in the stock of goods to be traded. Say for example, a TV showroom, he has got the TV as his goods. He makes investment in the TVs also. But in case of a manufacturer, his investment in the stock of material gets into three parts. The first one, he has to keep a minimum quantity of the raw materials to ensure uninterrupted production. He also has to keep a minimum quantity of finished goods to ensure uninterrupted supplies. Say for example, in the case of a PVC pipe manufacturing unit, at any point of time, he has invested a minimum quantity of raw material, and he also has at any point of time a minimum quantity of PVC pipes. One more thing which we need to understand is, as I have told you, while undergoing the process, the PVC granules gets converted into PVC pipes. But some quantity of the raw material will be lying on the machinery in the form of semi-finished goods also. Semi-finished goods means it is something which has moved away from the raw material stage but has not reached the level of PVC pipe. Say for example, in the extruder of the PVC pipe manufacturing unit, always a quantity of molten PVC granules will be there. So for a manufacturer, the investment will be in three things. One, the raw material. Number two, the semi-finished goods. Number three, the finished goods. The semi-finished goods is nothing but the material which is undergoing the process of conversion from raw material to finished goods. This makes the difference between a trader and a manufacturer. Now, I have already told you, number one, a service provider needs working capital by way of expenses. A trader needs working capital to meet the expenses and also to make minimum investment in the stock of goods. A manufacturer also needs to meet expenses and also make minimum investment in the raw material, semi-finished goods and finished goods. Now we will go on to one more important item of the working capital requirement, which is called as trade receivable. Whether it is a service provider or a trader or a manufacturer, upon completion of the process, when I say completion of process, I have given my service as a service provider. I have sold my goods in case of a trader or manufacturer. it may happen that I don't receive the payment for the services provided or the goods sold immediately. The buyer may demand some time to make payment for the service provided or for the goods he bought. In such cases, I have done my job, I have provided my service, I have sold my goods, but I have not received the payment. The payment receivable in such cases is called trade receivables. Trade receivables is nothing but the funds blocked. So, in case of a working capital, the manufacturer or a trader or a service provider has to meet the trade receivable, that is nothing but the fund which is blocked. So, when it comes to the working capital requirement, whether it is a trader, whether it is a manufacturer or a service provider, one component of the working capital is the trade receivable. The others are the expenses and the stock of goods and the stock of raw material, semi-finished goods and finished goods. In the next video, series 8, we will go into a concept called working capital cycle, which is also known as cash to cash cycle or operating cycle. If you have liked this video, if you have understood it, press the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.